Hello everybody, my name is EK and hear me out. I have a system that is in Guild Wars 1 and I want it in Guild Wars 2 and I know you want it too, and I'm going to talk about it today because I think it's a good system and I have no idea why it isn't in the game just yet. Okay, so the system I want to talk about today is the weekly bonuses system from Guild Wars 1. I'll have something on the screen as well right now so you can see what I'm talking about, but in general what it means is every single week a specific piece of content gets a bonus. So this means that 1 week doing a specific type of content is going to give you more than it would usually give you, and thus it's going to be very enticing and people will try and farm it during that specific week. And they kind of have this in Guild Wars 2 already. They have stuff like the weekly fractal bonuses, where there's the fractal rush, where if you go into a fractal and you complete one, then it's going to give you one of these bonus chests, and these bonus chests will give you additional loot. And also by participating in fractals at all during that specific period of time, you will get a general reward provided the community clears enough of the content, which the community always does. I'm assuming it's scripted to always be completed anyway, so you know, like I don't think it's actually like the community doing anything. I think it's just aimed at being like, yeah guys, you know, you did it, good job, there you go, have a nice pat on the head. But I think it's very important that we expand on that system and also make that system more predictable, make it scheduled, scripted, however you want to call it. Because right now, I have no idea when the next Fractal Rush is coming up. I like Fractal Rush, I like doing it. It doesn't need to be there every week. It doesn't need to be there every month. But I want it to be there on a fairly consistent basis so I can know when I go into it again. So the way Guild Wars 1 does this is, I think in PvE you have 9 different types of content that it cycles through. And it just takes one every single week. So every 9 months, the cycle repeats itself. And the way in which I would like ANET to implement that in Guild Wars 2 is something like having a bonus ore week. So for anyone who is old like me, and you know, you played around launch, you played in vanilla, the end game back then was just go to ore, do the cathedrals, do all of the different temple metas, farm champions, farm the events, and just make money there. You know, I have very fond memories of farming it back then, and I would like to go back. But currently, there isn't really a reason to ever go back to it. Yeah, I guess currently, maybe it's a bit of a bad example here, because currently there is the whole stuff to do with the Zhaitan weapons, which forces you to go back and do some events. But, you know, that's just this one specific example here. But in general, what I want them to do is I want them to have a system in place where I feel inclined to go back. So, for example, they can up the loot you get from event completions. They can add drops to the mobs there, so actually farming the mobs is good. They can add, like, you know, improved champ bags or something that have a higher chance of getting improved loot. Just have anything like that. Maybe even like a system where, you know, the community has to put an X amount of events in ore. It's like a very big number, but, you know, people are farming it. Like, it's, you know, it's hundreds of people, thousands of people farming ore at the same time, getting a lot of loot. The maps are full. You have to, you know, find different maps, like try and find one that isn't full. Like, back at launch, that was the game, and that was great. And, you know, ore is just one example here, but I wanted to revitalize old content by using weekly reward structures. So you could also do the same thing, and you could have, you know, Harathi, or you could have Dredgehaunt Cliffs, or you could have, you know, anything really, like anything that is somewhat farmable. You could add more rewards to it and people will farm it. Preferably do it mainly with stuff that is actually fun. So, you know, do it with the metas that people used to farm back in the day. You know, for example, it just pops into my head here, but I want to talk about it now. One of the things I could do is bring back the Frostgorge Sound Champ Train. I think the Champ Train is still there, like the champions themselves are still there. It's just that the rewards of this game have kind of exponentially grown, where you would be farming champion into champion into champion into champion, and, like, you know, repeat that cycle over and over again, and you get, like, I can't remember exactly how many, but you get a certain amount of champ bags per hour. Like, you know, you kill one champion every, like, I don't know, like 3-4 minutes maybe. So you know, you get, like, I don't know what, like 20 champ bags an hour or something. That was great back in the day, but when I go into Drizzlewood now, I'm getting, like, bombarded, like chest here, bag there, bag within bag over there. Like, it's, you press F on everything. Well, I mean, I guess today we all have auto loot, but, you know, you in your mind you kind of like press everywhere, like, oh, loot here, loot there, loot there. So, well, that's great, you know, it's like the big dopamine rush of getting loot. It's there. But what that does mean is that the old content, such as ore being the prime, such as Frostgorge being the prime example here, is kind of dead. Because the rewards simply aren't good enough. The farm is a little bit monotonous, which I thought was kind of fun, but I can understand it being a bit monotonous and people not wanting to farm it too much, especially when the rewards aren't good enough. But if there was a week, or even just a weekend, you know, make it like a 3 day thing. Have people go back there for a couple of days every like 1 or 2 months and give it improved rewards. You could do the same thing for the Queensdale Champion Farm, which is, I think, even older. I think it was Queensdale and then it was Frostgorge, or were they live at the same time? I can't remember. I remember distinctly farming a lot of Frostgorge. I didn't farm Queensdale as much because I prefer doing Frostgorge. But, you know, you could do a lot of different things. You could do a lot of different maps. You know, you could boost a certain Path of Fire meta or a certain EOD meta. Or anything from Season 6. Like, just have... It's kind of like the way they do raids right now. Every week, I think, there's this Call of the Mist or something, I think it's called, where one of the raids has improved rewards, like double rewards. And it cycles through them every single week, with the most recent one always having the buff. You can have something like that that just rotates through different metas, and it could even, you know, it could even be like 50 different metas, and just like, you know, every map has like 1 week, and if you don't like that specific week, then, you know, you just don't play that specific week. The one thing you have to pay attention to, of course, here is the rewards. You want the rewards to be enticing enough, but not overpowering. So what you don't want to create is a situation where, you know, the weekly bonus farm is like, let's say, like 50% better than the best possible farm in the game currently. Like, you know, if you say Drizzlewood's the best one, which it probably is, I guess maybe Dragonfall would be on par, or like maybe some instance content like Fractals is on par. But anything like open world, I think Drizzlewood's probably the best. So let's say Drizzlewood, like, I don't know, 25, 30 gold an hour, I'm not quite sure. I don't want the bonus area to suddenly be like 45 gold an hour. Like, yeah, it'd be great for a while. But at that point, you kind of feel shoehorned into going only for the content that is being farmed that week by the bonus week and nothing else, because everything else is irrelevant. You don't want that. You want it to be maybe on par, maybe a little bit better. You know, like if Drizzlewood like 30, then in theory, like maybe the weekly farm is like 32. And like, you know, if you want to farm the weekly content, then, you know, you go for it. It is better. But if you don't like the content, if it's just like, you don't, you know, like, you just hate this map, like you don't want to farm that. You go to Drizzlewood or something, like you go farm something else. Myself, I can't even see Drizzlewood anymore. Like Drizzlewood's like blocked in my mind right now. I've farmed it too much. But, you know, the same principle goes for any type of map. So you don't want to blow open the rewards too much, because then people will be feeling forced, because you know how people are with rewards, you know, like it's kind of annoying sometimes, because if you're doing something that isn't efficient, you will often stop doing the thing because you could be doing the efficient thing instead. It's kind of like Josh Thrive Hayes said in a pretty recent video, I think, of his, where he mentioned that the efficiency is killing your enjoyment of the game, which I very much agree with to some extent. I like efficiency, but I can also see where efficiency is ruining enjoyment for a game. But, you know, that's a different topic here. But, you know, I just want to be very clear. I think it's a very good system, but there is a con here, and it is you don't want to blow open the rewards too much to the point where it's kind of feeling like you have to farm it. Another thing they don't want to do here is, I don't think they want to do this for maps that are already kind of profitable and already being farmed heavily. Why not? Well, let me give you an example here. Let's say that map appears in the rotation every 2 months. So there's 6 times a year where it's in the rotation. People will, you know, grind it really hardcore during that specific period of time, and then they'll be burned out for a little bit, you know, maybe like a week, 2 weeks. They'll want to go back. They're like, you know, I could go back right now, but there is the event coming up again, like 1.5 months. Like, I could just wait. Like, I could just not do it, because farming it now is like kind of inefficient. What I should be doing is I should wait until this is, you know, the best map again, and then I should go back to it. I should go farm something else right now, and then come back to this one. So you don't want to create a situation where you have people turn away from a map that is already being farmed, because then people would just not farm it when it's not the specific week for that specific map, if that makes any sense. I'm hoping I explained that well. I think this video is quite rambly here, and you know, it's just like every video I do is rambly, but this one particularly, you know, I have stopped writing scripts. I'll have you know, I used to write scripts for these videos, or at least like, you know, vague scripts. Nowadays, I have a topic, I put the mic in front of my face, I start rambling, and I see where I end up. So there you go. Anyway, I think this is a very good system, and I would like them to implement something like this. And there's many systems they could use to intertwine with this. They could have like reputation systems. They could have, like certain titles you can grind during it. Like, let's say there is a title for every single event, every single bonus weekly event thing. Let's take the ore example again. Oh, actually, no. Let's take the Frost Gorge example here. And one of the titles could be kill an X amount of champions that, scales quite highly during this specific event. And that would mean people are farming it. And at some point you get like, I don't know, Hero of Frost Gorge or God of Frost Gorge or Frost Gorge. Like, I have no idea what to call it. But you can have like, kill 10,000 champions in Frost Gorge or something during the event, or even not even during the event, maybe like you just have it in general. You could have so many ways to spice things up, and I think that'd be very interesting, especially if it's a system that I keep on going, guys. So you have the system in Drizzlewood, right, where you get, it's like this weird world like system where you get additional loot on intervals when you're filling up these reward tracks that are in your achievements. What if during these events you have, for every single event, you have a similar reward track that you're filling up? So the maps themselves aren't actually more profitable, but there's an achievement in your panel that is only active during that week, and that specific achievement is giving you rewards that you otherwise wouldn't be getting. Guys, I think I'm designing the entire system right here. I feel like half of these ideas are just coming to me and I'm rambling, and it's great. I'm loving it. I'm hoping anyone's here listening to me and loving it as well. If so, please let me know. But yeah, I think I'm going to call it here because I've just been rambling for, 12 minutes already? Holy shit, that just flew by. And thank you very much for watching, guys. Have a nice day. I'll see you around.